Hello and welcome to M3 Live. I am Malcolm and Greg is at the doctor's appointment, so we got the thick night joining us fresh off Ranger Stop. Is that what it's called?
Yes.
Okay, you were just talking about it. You know, the funny thing is I have enough nerd friends that it actually did kind of flood my timeline. Like there were so many people just getting their pure nerd joy on. They really were.
We were.
So welcome. I'm glad that you were able to make it, and that I'm sure you had a great time, and I'd love to hear about it. We did invite Jameson on. He was just getting off work, and he's going to join us in a little bit. So what we'd like to do on Monday is actually talk about the news a little bit. Sometimes we get bogged down in the news. I'm going to try to do it like lightning round, but I do like the idea of keeping us informed about some of the things that are going on, and we can do it in a humorous way. We can, expunge our feelings about it because the world is going to shit. It is. And I think we should be aware of it and still live our lives and have fun. And so at the end of the show, I got a few funny videos, maybe like a funny topic or two. And Devon and Jameson can bring up whatever topics that you have going on, update us on what's going on in your life. And, we could talk about M3 stuff, of course, to our audience. If you're on YouTube, feel free to drop a comment. We're on Facebook. We're on Instagram. I'm trying to figure out how to get Instagram volume. And I figured out why there is no volume, because if I press the volume button on Instagram on my browser, I will hear both myself and Instagram at the same time. And so it's like this, double speak sound echo that is, untenable. So I'm going to try sometime this week to launch Instagram from a separate browser on a different computer.
Okay.
I have another computer right here, but it's kind of difficult to get to right now, so I'm gonna have to change my desk setup or something. Anyway, while we're talking about it, let me go ahead and try to launch the video. We've been having technical difficulties playing videos, so bear with us. If you have any questions or comments about the news as we go, I'll try to get to them as soon as we can. But let me see what's going on in the news.
President Trump deployed 2,000 California National Guard troops to Los Angeles after protests against ICE sweeps in the city led to instances of vandalism and violence. LA has been in the news too much this year. Deadly wildfires and a military deployment were collectively too hot for this. The LAPD made clear that as one of the largest police departments in the world, with 17 helicopters, including one that I believe is assigned above my house, it did not need and would not have requested the assistance, because if we don't use these rubber bullets by the end of the summer, they go bad. They get soft. And then it starts to feel good. Trump's obvious goal was to sow chaos, which is exactly what he got at protests in downtown LA on Sunday. A group of demonstrators set several Waymo self-driving taxis on fire. Jesus. We joked about the fact that there were reports that people were calling Waymos to the protest to set them on fire, which is very kind of Wall-E. It's like, why are you doing this? I'm here to help. I know nothing of ICE. And we got an email from PR at Waymo saying, actually, there's no evidence that happened, but I know you guys just like to joke around. It's like, okay. Meanwhile, National Guard troops who were deployed at an estimated cost of $134 million arrived without lodging and were photographed sleeping on floors.
Damn.
Hang in there, fellas.
$134 million?
2,000 National Guard troops and more than 700 Marines. As the escalation continued, Trump's border czar, Tom Homan, threatened to arrest anyone who obstructed immigration enforcement and wouldn't rule out arresting California Governor Gavin Newsom or LA Mayor Karen Bass. Good luck, Dick, because if I know Mayor Bass, she'll be out of the country at the first sign of trouble. Newsom had this response.
Yeah, he's a tough guy. Why doesn't he do that? He knows where to find me. But you know what? Let your hands off 4-year-old girls that are trying to get educated. Come after me, arrest me. Let's just get it over with.
And then Newsom added,
I'm here, kill me. Come on, kill me, I'm here. Come on, do it now, kill me.
I just forgot we were doing that bit. It's a lot of stuff's happening.
Oh, goodness.
Wow.
Yeah, I saw the picture of the Marines on the floor. I did not realize that's what it was. So they deployed I guess, what did he say? 4,000 Marines. They didn't actually have a place for them to sleep. And so they were just sleeping on the floor of some.
That is just fucking ridiculous.
And it cost $134 million. to deploy them. Like, wow.
And you had nowhere to put them, nowhere for them to sleep.
They didn't even have a place to sleep. Like, that is crazy, bro. Like,
That is crazy.
so it was clearly just a political stunt, and yeah, welcome to America. And yeah, Gavin Newsom clearly wants to run for president, and so he's acting all tough. But I mean, he's not wrong. I mean, so the last time troops were deployed to a state without the governor's consent was Selma, Alabama. You know, the march across the Edmund Pettus Bridge.
Yeah.
You know, and so basically they did, you know, the U.S. President, which I think was Kennedy at the time, I'm not sure, or it could have been Johnson, deployed, you know, the military to protect the people on the ground, not to from the police, right? That was the thing. It wasn't to protect, it wasn't to yeah, harass people. It was actually the opposite. They were afraid that the local police were violating the rights of the people who were protesting, not the other way around. So yeah. Anyhow, let's go. I'm gonna go to the next one. Hopefully
on
it'll
Tuesday,
play.
standing in front of uniformed members of the military, Trump accused Newsom and Bass of paying protesters in our own city.
In Los Angeles, the governor of California, the mayor of Los Angeles, they're incompetent. And they paid troublemakers, agitators, and insurrectionists. They're engaged in this willful attempt to nullify federal law and aid the occupation of the city by criminal invaders. That's what it is.
Veterans and military experts were horrified to see Trump politicizing the military in this way, standing in front of soldiers in uniform as a backdrop for a partisan speech, goading them into booing Democrats. It's disgusting. Later that very day, before seeing Les Mis, of course, we got this stellar moment with Trump and his wife of many years, Melania.
On the musical, have you seen the musical before, and do you identify more with Jean Valjean or Javert?
That's a tough one, that last part of that question. That's tough, I think. You better answer that one, honey. I don't know. I've seen it. We've seen it a number of times. It's fantastic. I thought it was just about our first choice. That's what we got. And we have others coming. Other great ones are coming.
My contract for tonight, very clear. I am not speaking. JD Vance was also in attendance, and he tweeted this before the show. He said, about to see Les Miserables with POTUS at the Kennedy Center. Me to Usha. So what's this about? A barber who kills people? Usha, hysterical laughter. So just for those keeping track, knowing what Les Mis is, gay. Knowing what a Sondheim musical is, straight as hell. Remember when he was talking about the essence of masculinity? Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Boy, oh boy.
Performative, yeah, bullshit from JD Vance. Hey, what's going on, Jameson?
Hello.
Hey, Jameson, what's
I
up?
survived, y'all. They got me. They got me. I'm here.
He's like, they got me, but I'm here now.
Oh god, Mondays. Are you having the case of the Mondays?
Yeah.
Man,
Yeah. One of my
I don't like working on Mondays anymore.
It was work today it was good. A bunch of conversation. My kid came just later at 1 o'clock, and we're working on. We're just working on little things. Other than that, it was a good day. I rushed home. I didn't flip my car, so we're here.
Please don't flip your car.
Yeah,
I try to do like a pop shove it or like a you know what I'm saying, like a kick flip, but you know.
Well, we're just doing a lightning round of the news, so I'm glad that you could join us. I'm going to play the next one. Here we go.
On Thursday, Democratic Senator Alex Padilla crashed DHS Secretary Kristi Noem's LA press conference and got physically wrestled from the room.
Senator Alex Padilla, I have questions for the secretary, because the fact of the matter is a half a dozen violent criminals that's rotating on your heads off.
I didn't realize I had a separate, deeper chamber of stress diarrhea to unlock. In the full video, you can see Senator Padilla forced to the ground and handcuffed by police. This is now the second most badass Alex Padilla clip, right after his smooth tortilla rolling technique. That's cool. Padilla had to deal with all this just for asking a question. And the question wasn't, who wants to see this Waymo burn? DHS spokesperson Tricia McLaughlin blamed Padilla for the row, tweeting, Senator Padilla chose disrespectful political theater and interrupted a live press conference without identifying himself or having his Senate security pin on as he lunged towards Secretary Noem. And Secret Service thought he was an attacker and officers acted appropriately. But we hear him say in that video out loud, I'm Senator Alex Padilla.
I'm Senator Alex Padilla.
He does not lunge. They're lying about something we can debunk with our eyeballs and our ear holes. In some way, that's even more ominous than shoving and handcuffing a senator. But in other ways, is it? Anyway, this is a comedy show. Padilla spoke with the press afterwards where he said this.
I was there peacefully. At one point, I had a question. And so I began to ask a question. I was almost immediately forcibly removed from the room. I was forced to the ground. And I was handcuffed.
On Fox News, Noem stuck with the unidentified lunger theory.
And this man burst into the room, started lunging towards the podium, interrupting me and elevating his voice, and was stopped, did not identify himself, and was removed from the room. So as soon as he identified himself, appropriate actions were taken.
Okay, yeah. We were talking about that a little bit Saturday, but yeah, it's kind of like what he was saying. Is it worse that they're clearly lying about things that you can see with your own eyes and ears, and nobody calls him on it? It's like, they would say that he lunged, that he didn't identify himself, that he wasn't wearing his security pin, all of which you can see in the video were true, and they just repeat the lie again. And somehow that'll do, pig, that'll do. Like, you can just it's like yeah. Anyway. We're moving on. That's just
Health and Human Service Secretary RFK Jr. announced Monday that he was retiring all 17 members of the advisory committee that reviews vaccine data and makes recommendations to the CDC. Bad news, among the 8 new advisors chosen to replace the old panel are a number of vaccine skeptics and deniers. Good news, shorter lines at the toy store this Christmas. Speaking of people who don't go to the toy store, on Tuesday, Elon Musk tweeted, I regret some of my posts about real Donald Trump last week. They went too far. Sad. It seems last week's ketamine is wearing off, allowing Elon Musk to see his actions in the cold light of this week's ketamine. And speaking of feuds, on Wednesday, Kentucky Senator Rand Paul told reporters that he'd been uninvited from the White House picnic over his opposition to Trump's big, beautiful bill.
Just been told that I've been uninvited from the picnic. I think I'm the first senator in the history of the United States to be uninvited to the White House picnic. The White House is owned by the taxpayers. We all are members of it. Every Democrat will be invited. Every Republican will be invited, but I will be the only one disallowed to come on the grounds of the White House. I just find this incredibly petty.
You'd think someone like Rand Paul would have built up more of a tolerance to being left out of stuff. Just so everybody knows, that was a very brief excerpt of Rand Paul's full remarks about being uninvited to the White House picnic, which continued for over 7 minutes. Trump later posted a message clarifying that, of course, Rand Paul was invited to his picnic. What a roller coaster. My heart is fucking pounding. Wrote Trump, of course, Senator Paul and his beautiful wife and family are invited to the big White House party tonight. He's the toughest vote in the history of the U.S. Senate, but why wouldn't he be? The only thing more embarrassing than getting uninvited from a big party is getting re-invited after you make a big public stink about it. Hey, so good to see you. It's me from the Tantrum. But hey, a pity invite is still an invite. How do you think I got invited to the White House for the first time?
Yeah. So I remember people saying that that politics is just a reality show for ugly people. Like,
yeah, it seems to be.
It really does feel like that. Like,
because it is.
It's like they uninvited me to the party. Oh my god!
Oh my gosh! How dare they?
Outrageous. And they go, you have a whole news conference about how they were invited to this party. Like,
why would they do that?
They do. Fucking Rand Paul. Ugh. Anyway, one of the worst. All right, moving on. Let's keep going.
More than 200,000 New Yorkers took to the streets for the No Kings March today. Organizers say the nationwide movement is in response to President Trump's immigration raids, military parade, and his defiance of court orders.
And it wasn't just New York, not by a long shot. In towns and cities across the country, from blue cities to red states, from Idaho to Georgia, and pretty much everywhere else, folks gathered to show their opposition to the Trump administration. They were standing up against immigration raids with masked federal agents, to devastating cuts to Medicaid, to the president of the United States, quote unquote, honoring the United States Army with a birthday parade. And they gathered in massive numbers. An estimated 5 million people attended a No Kings protest this weekend. That compares to the, well, definitely not 5 million people who attended Trump's military parade. In their defense, it was very humid, maybe too humid to give Vice President J.D. Vance some enthusiasm.
To the thousands of Americans who traveled from distant towns and across state lines to be here today, this is your national capital. Welcome to Washington, D.C. We are thrilled to have you.
I got more excitement out of my childhood dance recitals.
Because the place was, I mean, I don't know if that's the parade. I know the parade was like empty, like it was very, very underwhelming of how many people showed up. And I don't doubt that for the White House either. I'm like, what are we doing? Like, why are we having this parade? And then nobody watches this. Like, nobody was really there. You put on a parade on a channel where nobody watches practically. It's
I haven't
job, you know.
I haven't seen it yet either, but one of the things I heard was that, you know, the parade itself costs close to $70 million, but 16 million of that is just to fix the roads because the roads were not to the grade to allow tanks on the streets, right?
Wow.
Like the tanks themselves are going to tear up the streets. So they're going to have to repave them or fix the, you know, from the damage of rolling down the street with tanks.
And that's up in Atlanta?
No, this is in DC.
That was in DC. So there were protests everywhere other than DC. So like, I think because of some of the fear mongering, because of some of the security around the parade itself, there was no Kings protest in DC. I think the largest one was in New York, but there were protests everywhere. Like Atlanta,
I was in Atlanta this weekend, and on those lovely, perfect roads, there was protesting in Columbus. They were protesting in Columbus, and I was surprised. Usually, protesting either goes left or it goes straight to hell. So I was actually happy that they were doing something.
Yeah, I was actually planning on going to something until I wasn't feeling too well and it started to rain. And I was just like, you know what? Truthfully, I wanted to go to network. Honestly, I wanted to see who are some of my neighbors who are willing to actually put themselves out there physically to say no to Trump, because there's so many pro-Trump people, or even worse to me, the apathetic people who couldn't bother. You know, because that's really why Trump's in office. Because so many people couldn't even bother to go vote. Really, they're just like, you know, whatever. Like, dude, do you not see this guy?
So the crazy thing, when I used to work at Walmart, I had a lot of customers that I would like. They were old, elderly, and they were cool. Like, as far as like they say, "Hey, how you doing?" I had one dude had a good conversation, but they're Trump supporters. And in my head, it's like, besides them being brainwashed, you don't mess with me. Like you don't care about my well-being at all.
Yeah. Need mute. Okay, mute them.
So oh my god.
Yeah, it is, and I don't think people get that when they're Trump supporters. They think it's just another political thing, but. Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna just keep going, and we'll get to some fun stuff later. Let's go.
The Jewish state refuses to be a victim of a nuclear holocaust perpetrated by the Iranian regime. Now, as Prime Minister, I've made it clear time and again: Israel will never allow those who call for our annihilation to develop the means to achieve that goal. Tonight, Israel backs those words with action.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu on Friday laid out his case for a preemptive strike against Iran, namely to wipe out Iran's capacity to produce a nuclear bomb. Over the weekend, Israeli missiles and airstrikes hit nuclear fuel sites and energy facilities. Iran fired back at Israel with hundreds of missiles and drones, killing 10 people and injuring more than 100 on Saturday night. At our time of recording, airstrikes between the countries are still ongoing. Israel has reportedly asked the U.S. to join the fight to wipe out Iran's nuclear weapons program. On Sunday, President Trump clarified on Truth Social that the U.S. was not involved in the attack on Iran, though he did threaten Iran, saying that if it attacks the U.S., quote, the full strength and might of the U.S. armed forces will come down on you at levels never seen before. You might recall that the Trump administration had been in talks with Iran to stop its nuclear weapons program. In fact, they had some talks on the schedule for Sunday. No surprise that those were called off.
Yeah, so World War III is slowly inching forward.
Y'all ready? Y'all ready? Well, I don't think they're gonna like call y'all So, y'all better just be. I'm not joining the war.
Yeah, I mean, he did mention that they will probably reinstate the draft if we were to get on the ground war. I think it's unlikely, but it's not impossible, right? So there's obviously the battlefronts with Israel, Egypt, Iran. I'm not sure what other Middle Eastern states would probably come to their aid as well. I think Turkey. So there's like at least 3 other Middle Eastern countries which would band together against Israel. Then, of course, with that distraction, if we got pulled into it, there's the war in Ukraine and Russia. Russia. I mean, they've been fighting for almost 3 years and they haven't been able to take more territory. But with a wider distraction that could pop off there, and there's been a Cold War in China with Hong Kong and Taiwan for nearly 30 years. They claim those territories as their own, although they are democratically led. Yet they're technically part of China. It's kind of weird. We supposedly are on their side, which, if they were to attack, we obligated to defend as well. So I think that's what I think. People are like opportunistic, right?
Yeah.
And that's the issue. That's why.
Did y'all hear about the tweet about what Iran had posted? It said everyone will feel it.
I didn't.
And so I've been on TikTok at work, and everyone keep making jokes about like everyone, and I don't know. I try to pay attention to it, but in a sense also like be very mindful because I don't want to be on nobody's t-shirt. I just I don't want to be on nobody. You put me on a crop top.
Yeah, it's rough stuff. All right, here we go. Grant, 1 more, 2 more. I don't know how many.
These are the most decent, salt of the earth people who got in their jobs because they wanted to do good. And so my thoughts are with them and their families and making sure that their legacies, Melissa, who we've lost, will live on, and making sure people know what they were about. Because now all of a sudden, understandably, we're focused on a lot of other things, but that's number one. And then my second is catching this madman.
That's Minnesota U.S. Senator Amy Klobuchar conveying her dismay over political violence in Minnesota that started Saturday morning. Minnesota State Representative Melissa Hortman and her husband Mark were killed on Saturday. Police say they believe the same suspect also shot Minnesota State Senator John A. Hoffman and his wife Yvette multiple times. Local television stations reported that they were recovering from surgery on Sunday. Suspect Vance Belter was dressed as a police officer when he shot the Hoffmans, and that he'd used an SUV made out to resemble a cop car. Belter reportedly left behind what may have been a manifesto naming other local politicians and abortion rights advocates in his vehicle. Law enforcement officers say the vehicle had flyers printed with "No Kings." That prompted Minnesota officials to ask the public to avoid Saturday's protests against President Trump. Protesters gathered in the state anyway. Tens of thousands of them marched to the state capitol building in St. Paul.
Yeah, so I think that podcast came out this morning. I think recently, I heard that the suspect was caught. Pretty fucking scary, because I was wondering what people were talking about, like saying that people are afraid to go to these protests because this person apparently was going to target people at the protest, and he killed a state representative and shot, I think, his wife as well, and 2 other people.
I think 2 people were injured. I heard about this recently too.
Yeah, it just happened Saturday. Yeah, and so I think the suspect was caught. He had a manifesto and was, clearly on the, crazy side of things. If you have a manifesto, you're crazy. So.
Yeah. If you go about, what? Let's write a little letter. I want to this sound my bad. This might sound bad. I want to know what's their perspective as they're right. Are they really angry, or are they just are they just?
I think a lot of times, if I had to guess, they think they're being some sort of hero, or some like warrior for whatever cause they have. I think they're just so lost in the sauce that they don't realize like you're just another person.
That sauce is very
Yeah, you're not you're not special, bro. You're just another person.
Yeah.
All right, let's see. We've got some more. Yeah.
Our farmers are being hurt badly by, they have very good workers. They've worked for them for 20 years. They're not citizens, but they've turned out to be, great. And we're going to have to do something about that. We can't take farmers and take all their people and send them back because they don't have maybe what they're supposed to have, maybe not.
Oh, really? Yes, you heard that right. That was President Trump telling reporters on Friday that his administration is rethinking how it deals with immigrant workers in agriculture and hospitality because his own policies are causing harm. And in fact, it seemed the decision had already been made by the time Trump spoke. The administration circulated a memo on Thursday that basically told Immigration and Customs Enforcement to stop going after undocumented workers at farms, hotels, or restaurants unless they're suspected of human trafficking, drug smuggling, or other crimes. No, this is not a glitch in the matrix. It's a big pivot from an administration that sought to deport 3,000 people per day like 10 seconds ago. But why? Well, it seems his policies were costing him the support of executives running the farming and hospitality industries. It just goes to show that President Trump is a lot like your richest friend's Republican parents or the wealthy liberals they purport to hate so much. He simply believes that certain people are best for picking fruit and cleaning hotel rooms, and that the businesses that employ those people for low wages should be able to keep doing so, no matter what pesky policy the president has come up with.
Yeah. So this is the thing I was getting about the immigration policy. So for a lot of older Republicans and just people who are racist and they don't realize that they're racist, they were so ready to believe that there are all these immigrants in this country who are criminals that when he was talking about mass deportations, that he was talking about people who were gang members or criminals. Or they just assume that all brown people here are former gang members, even the ones, who are hairdressers, apparently, who are gay as fuck. And yeah, so when the deportations start to happen and ICE starts raiding people, they do go to the businesses where the illegal immigrants are, which are restaurants, hotels, and farms, right? Because they know that they're like, I think more than half of the agricultural workers are undocumented undocumented people. In the hospitality industry, basically everyone who cleans the rooms of hotels everywhere are undocumented people. I hate to be so sort of stereotypical about it, but it's just true. It's one of the ways that hotels and resorts are managed to keep costs down is that they just hire a bunch of people illegally under the table. And sometimes it's on the square, but a lot of times they're not even registered as employees or whatever.
They're just there just to work. And it's unfortunate that for Trump to push out trying to get these people off their jobs, it sucks. But now because they worry about money and people are actually saying like, hey, like you taking my best worker, aka you're taking my worker that I barely pay and that's do twice the work. And it sucks to say it like that, but
it's true.
That's the hard truth.
And I think it's interesting. Like I was saying, it's not always Latinos. You got to remember that there's a lot of Black people also from say like Haiti or Jamaica or from Nigeria.
Yeah.
Plenty of places from other places around the world. Who it's true they come from a place where these low wage jobs are like heaven. Like I said, I can't believe y'all don't work us harder. I'm surprised that y'all get 30 minutes for lunch. Oh, wow, like that's
they don't get, some people don't get no breaks, but
I know, right? They feel like y'all working too hard. And I've actually had conversations with people who, the white people get mad at the immigrants because they make them look bad. Like they'll go and they'll clean the room, twice as good in half the time, and they'll make the other people like, hey, slow down.
Like makes no sense. Like it's a job and it's not like a competitive thing. I'm just willing to work twice as hard. That's what they grew up doing. That's their mindset. And if they don't do good, then they're gonna get fired and then they're gonna put in a place where they don't want to be at. That's crazy.
Yeah, I know like people, it's part of the culture, like they don't feel like they're worthy if they're not working, Like if they're not working hard, at something, it's like, what's my purpose really? Because that's kind of where you came from, a culture where if you had to scrape to get by, like if you're not doing that, then you're dead weight. And so you bring that into this culture where that's just not true here. And it does kind of make everyone else look bad. But anyway, I think it's funny because now he's hearing from the owners of these establishments and these industries, and they're just like, stop doing that.
You're missing. You're like, Trump, stop, please, daddy, chill, daddy, chill.
The problem, however, is they're still going to go and deport people. If it's not at the place of employment, they're probably going to wrap up enough undocumented people through other locations and means that it's still going to hurt these industries.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And going back to a point where like it's unfortunate. People think that undocumented people are just Hispanic, Latinos, Mexicans, that sort of. No. Even people from anybody was not born here legally, whether that's if you're Nigerian, what's it called? Irish, European, it don't matter. If you're not, it doesn't say U.S. citizen, you're out of here, bud. And that's unfortunate.
I know. I don't know the name of the TikToker. He's African nationalism. You know what I'm talking about? He got recently deported. He was rounded up, and he was allowed to leave. Yeah, that dude. Yeah, I was like, really?
Or did you see the guy that got deported back to Mexico? He said, "This is a vacation for me," and came right back.
Oh, I did not know that.
He came literally. He was gone for a week and got right back.
Yeah, that is crazy. Okay, but yeah, that dude, the guy got deported. Like, really? I hope he made a video about it. Like,
it makes no sense.
Right, it doesn't make any sense. All right, Lucy, we got a few more. All right.
The U.S. State Department might add 36 countries to a travel ban that was announced earlier this month. The Washington Post and other outlets say they've seen a memo that cites national security concerns about identity documents and passports issued by those 36 countries. I'm sure it's a total coincidence that the vast majority of the roughly 50 countries on the expanding travel ban list are in Africa, Latin America, the Middle East, the Pacific region, and Asia. The memo says travel from the 36 additional countries could be restricted if they don't meet, quote, established benchmarks and requirements within 60 days. Among those benchmarks, accepting deportees from the United States. They have until Wednesday morning to give the State Department an action plan for meeting those requirements.
Yeah, so that's another problem that they're having, is that they don't sometimes have a place to send people when they're deported. They actually have opened up prisoner space at Guantanamo Bay, Cuba. That CCOT, I think that was in, I can't remember the country, but the one where the young man from Maryland just got sent back. We've had to improvise where we send people. So now they're trying to get hard with these other countries and trying to force them to take detainees, to allow them to deport people to their country.
That's crazy though, because some people aren't even from the countries that they're so-called going back to.
Exactly. Even if they were like from there when they were like super young.
Yeah, it's not the
what
same.
you're talking about is that they're sending people to countries that they're not even related to. It's just because that country happens to have a agreement with the United States to take deportees. It's like, oh, we'll take them at $6,000 a pop or whatever. Whatever.
I'm a Nigerian and I end up in damn near Asia.
Mm-hmm.
At this point, I'm thugging.
The fuck, I know. Okay. So hopefully we'll have some good news soon or funny videos.
President Trump has arrived in the western Canadian province of Alberta for the G7 summit. It's being held near Calgary. As NPR's Danielle Kurtz-Laban reports, Trump has one-on-one meetings planned with multiple leaders, including some who are not from G7 nations.
Trump's one-on-ones begin today with a morning meeting with Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney. White House officials also confirmed that he will meet with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky and Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum. The White House has said Trump hopes to talk about topics including migration, drug smuggling, and trade at this week's summit. Trump has imposed tariffs on goods from all of his fellow G7 countries. Trump's America First worldview has put him at odds with foreign leaders at past G7s. In his first term, they clashed over climate change and trade. But his team also took issue with G7 agendas, thinking covering non-economic topics like culture and climate change constituted overreach. Danielle Kurtzleben, NPR News, Calgary.
Yeah, so the G7's happening. In past years when Trump was president, he got like uninvited a few times. Like, it was pretty bad. So I'm just surprised that they're even having conversations. He's at least talking to these people, but
I guess they want to hear his voice.
I guess what the deal is. Yeah,
we're just put up with him.
Okay, let me see. We got a couple more. Let me see what we got.
President Trump has ordered officials in his administration to expand deportation campaigns in large democratically led cities. As NPR's Adrian Florido reports, writing online, Trump said they should do all they can to achieve his mass deportation goals.
ICE officers are herewith ordered, Trump wrote on Truth Social, to detain and deport illegal aliens in America's largest cities, such as Los Angeles, Chicago, and New York. The president went on to accuse Democratic leaders in those and other cities of using immigrants without legal status to expand their voter base and to cheat in elections. There's never been evidence of this, but the president's post suggests that more than a week after ICE agents began aggressive raids in Los Angeles, setting off protests, other large cities could soon expect the same. Trump wrote, quote, "I have directed my entire administration to put every resource possible behind this effort." Adrian Florido, NPR News, Los Angeles.
Okay, I think that's the last one. And yeah,
Okay, welcome. Hello, we're here.
We are here. So, like, I saw someone have a post. I think it was a friend of the show that just said, like, what are you doing to convince yourself that everything's normal?
Honestly, nothing's normal.
Right.
And to whoever's watching this, what you do from morning to night, it is quite normal.
Yeah.
But outside of that,
yeah,
we gotta get in the field. We gotta get in the field. Honestly, it's horrible it's horrible to try to say that life is hard out here, but it is.
Yeah, it is.
It is.
So on that note, I kind of want to just talk about, like some of the things I do on M3. I kind of like get meta about it. I have been trying to, put forward topics that can help people establish relationships better, talking about communication, or actually some of the the nittier issues about like dealing with people. I think the reason that content is attractive to me is because I sometimes feel like people just expect you to know these things. And for a lot of people, they do. They just kind of pick up on it. But for myself, it helps to actually talk about it and, pick up on it. So say, for instance, we just recently did one on this concept called dry begging, where people expect you to, pick up on their body language and sort of indirect questions about things that they want. Let's say you're in a relationship and you are doing the dishes, but you're doing them really loudly and sighing while you're doing it. And the dishes again. Instead of just
this damn plate. God damn.
Instead of just like asking them to do the dishes once in a while. We're just tired of doing it. But this is one of those things. I think another one is, I guess, just the unstated rules of relationships, friendships, family relationships, dynamics, work relationships, things like that. I'm always interested in, sometimes story times where people just talk about bad situations that they were in or unique situations. So I will continue to do those. I know Swag, he has a few set segments. One of the most popular ones are the straights okay? And it's always about some new rule that straight men have to follow in order to protect their heterosexuality. It is a lot. There's a lot. I mean, And sometimes it's funny, sometimes it's kind of serious. Yeah, it's kind of hilarious. On Thursday, Cream does a show basically a lot about pop culture. I mean, he does a lot of celebrity news. He has a lot of fun. I think he sometimes dips into just like current events as well. Sometimes music, movie, television reviews, stuff like that. And Greg on Saturday, does a rewind, like recaps a lot of the shows that we do during the week, but also dips into his mailbag, talks about things that are bringing him joy, and also some more news. I guess he does a lot of news on his.
I think that's good to push out. I really, well, for me, this is for I spoke to people. News is not a reoccurring thing for people. People ever knows. Welcome back.
Yeah.
Thank you, man.
People don't care for the news unless it's like social media wise, or like if it's really bad. Like,
yeah,
for instance, Saturday, I think it's Saturday or Sunday, somebody jumped off of 285.
Oh shit!
Wait, what?
Somebody jumped off of 285.
Like
they Junction. Yeah,
wow.
And somebody I'm friends with on Facebook. Oh my god, hold on. I think it's actually a good. I'm thinking about it as I'm going. I think it's a good conversation. He said, "quote." Oh, I'm sorry. Call me what you want, but holding up a major interstate because you want to unalive yourself feels selfish and attention-seeking. Do that on your own. Why bring others into it?
Well, he's not wrong. It's just you're an asshole for even saying that because somebody was suffering. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, of course. But I mean, of course, committing suicide is selfish and attention-seeking. A lot of times it is, but the reasons behind that selfishness and attention seeking is that you really feel at the end of your rope and you want people to recognize that you were there. Part of it is that sort of like desperate need for validation, and like why we have to go that far to get it is ridiculous, But then that is at the end of the day what we all want. I know we talk about when it's kind of desperate feeling when people seek validation on social media for different things. But, at the end of the day, I think everybody just wants to know, like, I was here. I mattered. I did something that is going to be remembered, whatever it may be. When I think about those people who are, like the shooter in Minnesota or whatever, doing the manifesto, is that same idea as attention seeking is part of that. Sort of thing. I'm gonna look through some of these comments. I think Swag mentioned that guy was caught.
They caught the guy.
Yeah, they did. And yeah. So that's the thing. The guy is probably disordered, so he probably doesn't fall into left or right thinking in either direction. This is a thing that all of us normies tend to forget, is that we naturally group into left and right. But if you are literally insane, you may hold very disparate beliefs. You may be, pro deportation, anti-abortion, vegan. Who knows? Like you might have some very off the wall cluster of beliefs. So, but it sounds a lot more right wing to me anyway. Reminds me of the Asian cultures of their work ethic. Yes. And this is true of most any place where I think it's true in Asia because they're much more collectivist, and people also have a higher sense of shame when you don't contribute to your family and community and things like that. But any place where the economic situation is a struggle, and that's pretty much everywhere outside of industrialized nations in North America and Europe. There's certainly Asian countries that are flourishing. Like Japan is one of the top GDP contributors. I think they were like number 3 or 4 in the world, like right behind the US, Germany, and China. So I mean, they're for a country the size of California, that's pretty impressive. But yeah, it's yeah, even in countries like that. Let's see what we got. Okay, so the internet did a deep dive search on the assassin. He used to preach overseas in Africa. Some of the sermons have been posted. Very homophobic, very right wing, not at all demure. Okay, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I think you nailed it. Yeah. And I think it is a natural thing to want to pin what his leanings are. I just assumed it was, but of course we do have left wing nutbags, but no, this doesn't seem like that. So, but yeah, let's see what else we got. Okay, so I promised some fun videos. I'm gonna have to do the Pokemon because yeah.
Sammy, really?
Hold it.
I sometimes I just boy, I swear. Sammy.
Oh, let me see.
That really, Sammy?
Oh wow. That's funny. So it says, Thick, did you see that any of the Rangers that were hanging and bulging through their suits?
None of the Rangers really wore their suits. So now you're talking about people in cosplay, that's completely different. But
yeah.
None of the actual actors or wore their suits there. Except for one, but they did it for photo ops. So
all right, so let me see. I guess I'm gonna do the Pokemon one. I mean, I was doing this for Jameson, but
where is he?
I don't know.
I'm here.
Oh, okay. So yeah, I'm just gonna play this fun video real quick. We're in that portion where we're just killing half an hour before the end of the show. But this shit is hilarious. Let me put the background for movies. Boom. I guess we can do it that way. I guess it doesn't matter because we're going to be behind this video. Or let me see if I can play it like this. Give me a second. Because it's so long, I don't know if I just want to play it over us. I'm going to see if I can't play it to the side. Here we go.
Oh, well. Gary? If it isn't Ass and his lame ass friends. What are you doing here? I'm here to catch all these Pokegays and put you to shame.
It's not gonna happen, you big bully.
Yeah, Gary, leave my ass alone. Ratapa, go!
Oh, God.
That Ratapa is a fierce opponent. Not to mention, kind of hot. You know, I'm literally hard right now. Yeah, me
So
too.
wet, like
Top.
Step aside, guys. Let's show this twerp what Fisty can do, okay? Heady up, dope. Go!
Well done. No.
Harry. Ratapa, you squirt!
Heady up, dope. Dodge it!
Harry. Ratapa, shake it off! Use ghost!
Hey man, super hot. I'd like to chill tonight. Can I get your number?
Oh my god, yeah, totally. Let me just grab my phone. It's right here.
No! No!
Harioto! Return! Pikachu! I choose you!
It's Pikachu.
Twinkachu!
Pikachu, you slid the hostile boost, mama! Papa, use disengage!
This top is too strong. Pikachu, use Reaper Filth! Oh, a top and a harness and fitted hat? How original! OMG, you are so special. Wait, do you even know how to clean your room? Change a fitted sheet? Balance a checkbook? Are you still on your family's Spotify premium plan and you're 37 years old? Do you even know how to clean the dingleberries out of your butt crack? Oh, I'm sorry, is this too much communication for you? Because when was the last time you asked about my needs?
That's so dumb. You're
I'm
God.
done.
Anyway.
Oh, jeez.
Shout out to them harnesses are cute.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay. I mean, look, the harnesses were pretty
Pikachu,
nice.
I choose you.
But Twinkachu really, I put the kind of way.
I'm dead. Yes.
Right. Look, I'm gonna read the comments.
Okay.
Hold on. Let me see. Let me go back up to, right here. AK. How was Ranger Stop though? Oh, tune in on Sunday. It was amazing. It was a fantastic ass time. But yes, tune in Sunday for my show, and I will talk about it. Yes, and we'll have some other things going on. Man, they really turned up for this last one. Yeah, they did. They did because, yeah, I'll explain that Sunday. We were kind of tricked, and then we kind of weren't. So, and my cosplay too, Sammy. You have to tune in on Sunday, okay? Malcolm, you were in timeout for this. And Sammy said he loves it.
That was just too stupid, and I couldn't help it. Like sometimes it's like, you tried, but no, that one was so bad. It was good. It went full 360 from like, this is so bad.
It was a corny bad, like corny
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. All right, let me see. I got a couple more. Let me just play it. That's funny though. They sort of nailed the old Sega Genesis look. They did. Oh god. Let me see. Okay, this one could be a whole topic, but talking about race swapping characters. See how you feel about it.
Library sued for denying white actress role as who? As what? As who? As Harriet Tubman. What the helly? A white actress in San Diego, Annette Hubel, is suing the San Diego County Library after they canceled a scheduled performance of her one-woman show, Women Warriors, which includes portrayals of historical figures like Harriet Tubman and Mary McLeod Bethune. I'm sorry. The library's Diversity and Inclusion Committee told her it was not appropriate for a white woman to portray Black civil rights icons, even without dark makeup or offensive impersonation. And so naturally, she filed a lawsuit claiming racial discrimination. Can we talk about it? Your Honor, let the record show. Let the record show. If you've been following me for a while, y'all know how I feel about race swapping when it comes to historical figures. Y'all know I do not get down with that. I'm not the one. No ma'am, no ham, no Pam, no Sam. The girls was on here eating me up about this when I said that I did not like this, that I didn't fuck with this, that I had a problem with this. Y'all ate me up. I just want the people to know that I got ate up behind this. The reason I did not like this, okay, and I did not like this, And also, insert photo of Hamilton. Didn't like that shit either because it opens the door for this. Because it opens the door for this. Annette, you ain't shit for this, though.
What's so fucked up is that this woman could win her lawsuit. She really could.
Gosh.
Yeah. Why do you want to play Harriet Tubman, girl?
That's the real question.
No,
asking the real questions.
Let me. I'm gonna play devil's advocate.
Yeah.
Okay, so I just think I think Susan, Rebecca, whatever. I just feel like she's ally. I think that she's one to just support us as Black people. It's not fair. It's not fair that she wanted to be under that Underground Railroad. She wanted to support. I support her. I get it.
Her ticket to the Fifth Avenue has been rescinded.
I feel like certain characters are just meant to be played by the actor, even with indigenous people playing indigenous characters or historical characters in movies or shows, whatever the thing would be. I want them to play it. You know what I'm saying? Instead of an Asian character, I don't want a white woman playing an Asian character. I don't want if you know what I'm saying. Unless the character was white and Asian, the character was Blasian. Okay, I don't want. Look, that's like I don't want no thin person playing thick. I want someone that's thick playing thick night. You know.
That's true. I thought about that. Or they've had a few of those. Yeah, people wearing fat suits or darkening their skin or changing their nose or something like that.
Yeah.
Like even Black people who are not Black enough playing, that was an issue and trying to play Nina Simone, but she's a biracial Black woman. Yeah.
Zoe Saldana.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it just was unnecessary because there are plenty of dark skinned Black women.
I don't even know why they asked her in the first place. I kind of blame the studio for that one too a little bit, because why would you even ask her to play Nina Simone or let her even audition for it? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And to Kenny Omega's point, look up Cleopatra's real background. People keep saying Cleopatra is Black. She's Greek, really. And, Greek and something. She's not really Black.
There's a sensitivity to whitewashing, right? And so because she was an Egyptian, they were just like, there were white Egyptians in that time period. Yeah. And they were, like you said, Greek and Roman.
Yeah.
Of ancestry, and she was one of those.
Mm-hmm.
But and I hate to say it, like we, in religious terms, turned Jesus Black. Now, I'm not saying that Jesus was white, but giving him a fro and Afro kink is also not true. Like it's just that he was Middle Eastern. He probably looked like Osama bin Laden a little bit, or something like that. He was brown skin, kinky hair, but not a Black person, right? Look at any Palestinian. That's the neighborhood of what person of color he would have been.
Yeah.
He was definitely not. He wasn't purely white, but
he was definitely not white. But I'm just saying
he wasn't white.
Also, he also wasn't Black either. There are people who are neither white or Black.
They're just a darker skinned individual.
Right. So we do that too. We're human. I mean, that's what it is. Yeah. Sammy, this was like a parody. I think that was just
it was a parody. It was not a real thing.
Right.
But what's crazy though? It looks so real that people will make a mistake in that.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
I was thinking about trying to make a joke, but I'm always afraid to make it. But you know how they, at the beginning when you turn on, like a Sonic game and it goes Sega.
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking about going, nigga.
Oh, right.
I was like, I wish I could make that happen, but I don't think you could get the AI to do that. It's like, but they sometimes don't let you do that. Let's see what this one is. No, Cleopatra's not black. Sorry.
She's not.
No.
I don't know. I wish we would get that fact straightened out amongst the black people.
Yeah.
Nefertiti was black. Cleopatra was not.
No. Doesn't mean that she was like light white either.
Right. Because she
Yeah.
got darker in the she's the
Right.
sun, so yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say the reason why we don't have white people playing black characters is because of the power differential. It's the reason why some people say that black people can't be racist in America. We can be discriminatory, we can be hateful, we can, be assholes, but we can't be racist because there is no power structure that oppresses white people. If you're shitty towards them, it doesn't threaten their lives the way that people being shitty to us threatens our lives and livelihoods, and so that's the reason why you don't have white people portraying black characters, is because there's a history of white people pretending to be black on stage, and it is completely racist. Even if its intent was not originally to be racist, it is. So
yeah, and then also the guy that played I forgot his name right now, but the guy that played Iron Man,
Robert Downey Jr. when he did Tropic Thunder.
Yeah,
but that
was
but
interesting.
But that was more on and we forgave him for that because he explained that was more of a comedic thing. He knew that he even apologized beforehand. He was like, "I'm sorry, but this is not me trying to blackface. This is for a comedic thing," and a lot of people gave him a pass for it. So
I think the reasons are, one, he wasn't really trying to be a black person. It was a upfront that the movie itself was farcical and satirical. Everyone involved was upfront about it, and I hate to say it, it was also just funny. Like at the end of the day, it was one of the funniest skits I've seen.
What do you mean, you people? Yeah, what do you mean, you people? It's like,
I think at that time he just didn't give a fuck. Like, honestly.
Yeah, because I think it was also because we loved Robert Downey Jr. again at that point, because that was after the first Iron Man movie. So we were like, you know what?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. I don't know where the hell that rumor came from.
Okay, so no, wait. So let me clear this up for everybody who is not in the know. Okay. What happened was, in a alternate universe, and I don't know the writer at the moment who was responsible for that for this mess. I'm calling it a mess for now. But in an alternate timeline, after Wakanda has been going through a war and everything is a mess, T'Challa is dead. I believe Storm is like injured or something, paralyzed or whatever. How you paralyze a goddess and injure her to that extreme is beyond me. But again, this is not my handwriting, and I don't think this is a person of color's writing either. I think it's somebody of the others. Okay, I think it's one of them writers. Okay, but
was this in a comic book or?
Yeah, this is in a comic book. So in the alternate timeline, T'Challa ends up having a half black, half white son. His white son. He looks white on the outside, but he is of a mixed. He is mixed with black and white. But of course, he looks like a blonde-headed, blue-eyed character. And people are, losing their shit because they think it's canon. It's really not. It's just an alternate timeline where a black king comes to claim his throne of Wakanda because he is the son of T'Challa.
Okay, yeah. I just started seeing people talking about it. I didn't even delve into it. To me, I just thought it was clickbait, and it sounds like it is.
And then that's when the whole Ryan Gosling thing came around again. Well, it's time to make it a reality in the movies, and they had Ryan Gosling, of course. AI. No, Ryan Gosling even said himself he would not do that. He said, "No, I will not do that because I don't want to be lynched and torched through Hollywood. I don't.
Speaking of that though, I've been on TikTok way too much.
Mm-hmm.
Addicted, you can say. There's this Facebook VO thing or like this AI. It's
from Google. Yeah.
Google, get Google VO. It's too real.
I know. I might have to tell some.
What's it called?
Google
VO, VO3. I've been sending you those videos, Devon.
Oh, okay. I know.
Yeah,
about
like
that. I didn't hear
the Power Rangers and the
yeah, I got those.
There's this whole blog of like stormtroopers video blogs.
Mhm.
I think I might have to show some of those because they're not great, but they're cheap and easy to make. And
they're funny.
They're pretty good. Yeah, they're pretty good.
She said, "Death is calling you at the bingo table."
Let me see. I'll play one of the ones I sent. Some of because they have an 8-second limit, so you'll notice all the time that they're clipped from smaller clips, and sometimes people put them into larger ones. But I played a few before.
Yeah, I like the one with he's like, I gotta stop doing lines in the Turtle Van. I was Splinter was right. I got to do lines while I'm driving the Turtle Van.
Yeah,
Wait
no,
a minute.
that's hilarious. But it looks so good. It really does. It looks pretty solid. Let me see if I can download one. Hold up. I got a couple here. My folder structure, I need to work on that. But and then we're gonna do a short Patreon. So if you want to support Mail Media Mind, go to patreon.com/mailmediamind. I'm gonna play a couple of these videos and then we're gonna go to Patreon exclusive. We have Telegram groups, we have a Discord server, which we don't use, but maybe we will at some point. I have a book club. This month's selection is James by Percival Everett. And okay, here's one of them.
Splinter was right. I gotta stop blowing lines in the Turtle Van.
So dumb. This was clearly bad. They did a Batman and Robin.
And that was tough. Want to go grab a drink? Say less, fam.
Well, here we are. We just pulled up to this dive bar we found on Yelp. I guess it'll do.
As long as they've got Jameson, I'm Gucci, fam.
Guys, Bruce just ordered another shot. It's getting pretty lit in here.
I'm lit. You just had 3 Long Islands in a row.
Hey, boys. Want to join us back at our place?
I didn't run it.
Seems a little sus, but I'm down.
All right, chat. These 2 baddies just invited us over to their spot. We finna take a W, if you know what I'm saying. Eh?
Bro, don't tell Catwoman about this.
Woo! Yeah! Let's go! This is the best night ever! Party!
All right, gang. It's now 3 a.m. It's been a pretty ratchet night. Bruce is passed out on that girl's couch. Signing off. Like and follow to see what tomorrow brings.
So I've seen videos on how to make these videos. It's expensive right now. And I don't know. I do kind of want to make some at some point. But we'll talk about that on Patreon. Let me switch this over. Go to patreon.com/mailmediamind. Join us tomorrow for the swag suite. Wednesday is the M3 Live with me, the Philosopher King, and Thursday we got the Diggler Digest with Cream Diggler, and Saturday sit down at 1 with Greg. The Blurred Council will convene Sunday at 5, and we'll be back next Monday. Catch you guys on Patreon. All right.